Welcome back, War Room fans. Here we go. We had some big news break this weekend. Thomas Gale of Nightingale came out with his official announcement that the Nano expansion rules are now official optional rules. I really like these rules, and we're going to break them down. Now, if you guys want to see Thomas's explanation, I suggest everybody goes over to Nightingale YouTube, and Thomas has his video up there. I would also encourage everybody to go over there because they are going to have, they have two contests going on. One of them, and both of them, you can get a signature edition of War Room. So I encourage you to watch that video and find out how you get signed up and possibly win yourself a copy of War Room, which is always fun. The signature edition is, you know, they got all the extra little perks in there. And so that's always a fun thing. Plus, hey, you win War Room for free. But if you guys don't want to go over to Nightingale Games, I'm going to give you the recap and then, of course, my synopsis of how I think the Nano expansions are really good moving forward with War Room and putting an extra layer of strategy and tactics into the game, which is, I think, ultimately what all the fans want. We want the game to grow and expand and become a little bit more I'm not going to say complex, but a little bit more complex, though, on the tactics and strategies and, you know, evolving the rule book. So basically, we've talked about the Nano expansion. When it was first introduced, we talked about it in, Bryce and I did, on Officer Lounge 2, one of our videos. We talked about it. But the game designers decided to switch it up a little bit from when we first discussed it. So let's go over this. So basically what the Nano expansion is, it's the naval expansion for the submarines. Okay. And how the Nano expansion works is it's twofold. Okay. The first thing about the Nano expansion is submarines now can cause stress by sinking convoys. So how it works is, if let's say the third comes out on the opening turn up to A8 and they get their shots here on the convoy. Now notice there's two subs, so you're going to get to roll 2 dice. So looking at the math of that, you're going to hit most likely 2 of those 3 silhouettes. So let's say you hit the iron and you hit the OSR. Well, obviously Great Britain loses an OSR and an iron. But then what happens is if you get the Nano expansion blister pack that Thomas talked about, it's $2 on the Nightingale website if you want to get it. But basically, what you do is, if you don't have the Nano expansion, the actual little, they have counters now, and they go in the sub-loss column on the casualty sheet. So until you get the expansion chits, I would just recommend, if let's say go, well, I hit the iron and I hit the OSR, on the casualty board over here somewhere, or over here, or wherever the heck you got it, you just take a sub out of, because they're equal to a sub loss. So if I hit 2, you just take 2 subs and go ahead and just put it on the British casualty sheet. So they would take 2, you know, they would take 2 hits or 12 points on casualty points. Okay. So to how to beef up these subs is, not only are you hitting them for resource loss, but now you're hitting them on on the casualty point table, which will increase their stress, which I think is a really good addition to the subs, and especially at the 6th level, because now it really hurts. When the original rules came out, they said they were basically equal to an infantry. They were only worth 2 points each. But in the big picture, that's not really that much. Putting them at the 6th level, now Britain really has to worry about this, because it's really Great Britain that always has to worry about stress points and getting put out of the war through stress and not through conquest. And because Great Britain is a nation which has a lot of convoy routes, this is a real issue for them. And we're going to talk about it at the end of it, okay? But let's just go back to it. So the first part of the Nano expansion is, if you hit a convoy silhouette, for each silhouette you hit, they basically take a sub-casualty or 6 points. And if you actually have the chit counters, they're going to have a sunk convoy, which you'll put into the sub column on the casualty chart. Okay. The second part of the Nano expansion, in an effort to beef up these subs, is, let's just say on the opening turn I come up here, but the British player goes, I know it's coming, plus this stupid Nano expansion. They send the 7th out here, okay? And we have an engagement between that battleship and cruiser and these 2 subs. And let's just say they only record 1 hit on me. So remember, on the battle chart, guys, subs don't go to damage, they go to dive. So the second part of the Nano expansion is, every sub that is in the dive can then move up to 1 sea zone, okay, away. So not only do they get away, they get basically a free move. So let's say he gets hit, after his engagement, I only hit 1 time, so he's in the dive. He can move here for free. Then you obviously put a new naval command over here from the Germans, which I don't have, but they get to move over here. So they get to bounce out of these zones and cause the Allies even more stress on their command chart, because now subs are getting free moves, getting to move away, okay? Now, this is optional, though. That's another change they made from the original when they first put it up. So if, let's say at the end of the combat, they hit me 1 time, I have 1 sub in the dive. At the end of this combat, just in this zone, I can elect, I don't have to, I can actually keep them here, but I can elect to move them, okay? And it's any adjacent sea zone. Now, one of the things though is let's just say I moved him here to A7, okay? So he was aborted or dived. He comes to A7, but let's just say, I don't know, we don't have it set up, but let's say there's a combat here, or there's naked transports in A7. This sub is out of the combat. He has no influence whatsoever on A7. So if there's transports that are unprotected out of here or anything, he cannot sink them. He is truly done. And then on the end of the phase 5, which is redeploy and refit, then he comes back up to the surface for the start of next turn. So if you elect to bounce him to a different sea zone, and let's say there's a combat here, or there's transports here, he's literally invisible. He cannot affect anything on the following turns. So unless you have the Nano expansion chits, which obviously I don't have right now, although I did place my order, you'll just have to remember that as a group, that they were bounced out of A7, and you're going to have to do something in your group to basically let everybody know these guys have no effect. But once you get your Nano expansion chits, they actually have a chit you can place on top of that sub command to remind you that they don't do anything, okay? So that's basically what the Nano expansion is, an attempt to make subs more lethal, and they're more lethal in the term of stress. So let's just do it one more time, the 1 minute explanation. If subs hit any silhouette, it's worth 6 stress points or 6 casualty points on the battle board. Now remember over here, if they come up into here and they roll a yellow, the United States loses 3 OSRs and they take 1 hit on each one. So they take 3 sub casualties on their sub board. So the United States would take 18 casualty points. If you hit yellow and blue, they would lose 4 silhouettes. And then the other thing is, if the Americans come out, engage, 1 sub is damaged or sunk, or not sunk, dives, he can move to an adjacent C zone anywhere around the A9. And that's basically the Nano expansion, guys. Okay? Now, here's why I really like the Nano expansion. And it comes down to this, guys. Let me reset my little board here. I'm going to pull off a little bit. So remember when I talked in the German strategy, the order of battle, okay? And if we put all the Axis ships up here and all the Allied ships up here, remember I talked about in the order of battle that the Allies have 7 ships and we have 7 ships. We're all at parity on numbers, but they have a really good quality advantage. They got 3 battleships, 4 cruisers, and a sub. We basically just all have subs and cruisers. We got 2 cruisers and 5 subs, okay? Or 6 subs. So what the Nano expansion has done is it hasn't made us stronger against their actual physical navy, but it's given our main strength, meaning from the perspective of Germany, it's now given our subs a little, it's given us a really big incentive. We're not just killing off resources. Now we can really start affecting stress. And stress is really big for Great Britain. It's the #1 nation that really has to be concerned about stress, okay? So now let me show you here just a basic tactical breakdown of how, when the war starts, one possible, basically like possible opening moves to really drive the Allies crazy. So like on the opening turn, what you do is you move these guys, they can bop down to A17. Now there's only 1 here, but notice on the second turn, there's three convoys here. You've got 3 subs, so now you can just park them there and take free shots for the rest of the game until either the South Africans come down or the British start doing stuff, okay, to stop you. If they just say, whatever, you can stay there for the rest of the game, well then for the rest of the game, those 3 subs just keep shooting those 3 convoys, inflicting stress on Britain. Another option is the 3rd Fleet. If the Americans do the classic, come up to A2, they're bringing everybody to Canada, Well, from A13, these guys can now all bop into A11, into the Gulf of Mexico, and start going after American resources, inflicting stress on them. So now all of a sudden your subs are no longer just nuisances for, you know, knocking out resources. Now they can actually start putting casualty points on you. And maybe for the United States it's not as important, but it's still highly annoying if you're down in here and not only are you hitting resources, but putting casualty points and potentially moving the United States up on the stress wheel, or at least putting stress points on the morale board. Okay? Now, I'm just going to leave it right there. We're going to talk a lot more about the implications of this new rule/optional rule when we talk about the German strategy of like investing in some Navy and Italy investing in some Navy, because this does have implications for the Allies in a big way, not only just for the British in terms of them taking stress, but also it has implications that if, let's just say, crazy scenario, on the opening turn, none of the Axis powers bid any oil for turn order. Germany builds 6 subs, Italy builds 3 subs, and Japan builds 7 subs. All of a sudden, 16 subs hit the board that are going to be moving on turn 3. Now, what are the implications? The Allies look at that situation and now they're going to have to actually build Navy. The one advantage the Allies have over the Axis, specifically when we're talking Germany, is their main advantage is in air power. Well, if America now all of a sudden has to build a lot of ships, then that advantage can't be exploited because they're having to spend oil on ships instead of oil on more planes. One of the negatives of Germany just giving up the ghost on the Navy is now you let the Allies, you basically let America and UK off the hook when it comes to building Navy. All they need to do is build land and air. They never have to build Navy anymore. This Nano expansion all of a sudden opens up this possibility, this opportunity for specifically Germany and Italy to really take it to Britain with their subs and take it to Britain on the stress wheel. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Now, be sure, guys, to check out Nightingale Games. Check out Thomas's video. Make sure you enter into the free drawing so that possibly you can win a free game. And then I will be back with more German strategy videos and just continuing down the path we're on, guys. Keep talking about War Room. So you guys have a good night. Talk to you later. Bye.